Everybody, and welcome to our PDA Town Hall for August 16th, 2026, as we move through what is a historic and very fraught year in American politics. As we're making our way through, and I actually adjust my mic levels live on air here. I trust that I sound good still, everybody. And look, we're heading towards November 3rd. It's absolutely necessary that for all of the incredible contests that we've had between the progressives and the moderates within the Democratic Party primaries, some of the highest profile of which we are so excited at PDA that the progressives have won. We see a shift taking place in the party. We did lose a very close battle in Wisconsin that, to my mind, was extremely important and a very unfortunate result, very unfortunate way in which the result unfolded as well, as we continue to see a very, very strong and virulent commitment on behalf of the centrist wing in our party to defeat progressives, not recognizing that we really, really have the best interests of the American people in mind. But as we get closer to November 3rd, we're going to have to patch up all of our wounds and scars and have a unified front. We know we need this because while there is a significant difference between progressives and moderates within the Democratic Party, it does pale in comparison to the constitutive difference. And the root of that word is essential here because the Constitution comes into play with the current Republican Party. And we all know that's the case. And we cannot make the mistake that happened in Germany in 1933. Liberals and radicals have to unify, and we will. And PDA will lead that charge as we have to defeat Trump. And as it were on November 4th, then we will again swing back to making the case that the Democratic Party needs for the welfare of the Democratic Party, for the welfare of the people of this country, for the welfare of everything that we will have fought for on November 3rd, and up until November 3rd, we need an honestly progressive political party to be one of the two major parties in this country. This is why there's been this disruption in our politics. People are very dissatisfied with the results from our political establishment. They want to see something substantively different, and we are the political formation that promises that and will deliver that. In a moment, of course, I'll be introducing Donna Smith for her thoughts for the week, and then we'll hear from Mike Fox. We are very honored today to be joined by really one of the leading progressive and just tireless progressive organizers in the United States of America, two of them, in fact. One is the great Senator Nina Turner from the state of Ohio, and from the country and the world, just one of the leading voices on the progressive left and one of our greatest allies here at PDA. And she will be introducing somebody that she has done a lot of work with, and that's the great activist Ben Cohen, a co-founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream and supporter of progressive causes around Vermont, the country, and the world, and just a fantastic, again, tireless progressive organizer. And we've been looking forward to this day for a long time. We're going to hear both about his longstanding commitment to reallocating funding away from nuclear arms to the needs of the domestic population of the United States, which has been focused in his Up in Arms campaign. But we're also going to hear about his campaign to try to preserve the manner in which Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream has been able to, be a source of sustenance and funding for causes that serve humanity, again, in his region of the Northeast of the United States, in the entire country, and in the entire world, and the manner in which this has been infringed upon by the corporation that purchased that Ben & Jerry's has a relationship to, in the production component of their ice cream is achieved by a larger corporation which had more capacity to achieve its global reach, the Magnum Corporation, and we'll be hearing about that and the battle to try to win back control, especially of, as it were, the political editorial component of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. And it's a very important thing for us to support here at PDA. And so we'll hear about it from Ben Cohen, and then I will be encouraging everybody to sign on and support however we can with everything going on. Everything that's going on in this country and the world, because it's a really essential component, and it's been absolutely achieved with grace, by Ben Cohen, overseeing it over the years, and we really need to preserve it and strengthen it going forward. So that is going to be our run-up show for today. In the second hour, or when Ben leaves, we'll hear a little bit more from Nina Turner. Always looking forward to hear from Nina. And again, very important moment for the progressive left right now to hear from Senator Turner, her thoughts on the state of the world, the state of the politics in the country. I'll certainly join in that conversation, as hopefully Donna Smith will, and then we'll bring everyone into the conversation on the call in by the second hour. So that's our run of show for today. And to start, let me introduce our great chair of the PDA Advisory Board and herself a tireless fighter for all causes, good and just, Donna Smith.
Oh, nice, Alan. Thank you very much. I can't wait to hear from Ben Cohen. For many, many years, they have the Ben and Jerry's Foundation had been doing a lot of support in the single-payer healthcare movement, and helping organizations like Healthcare Now and people who were really trying to get the word out about single payer when John Conyers was still working on HR 676. So, through those years, it was always so appreciated when the Ben and Jerry's Foundation weighed in with grant money and support for those organizations' work. So I really echo your comments. I always can't wait to hear from Nina Turner and hear what she's thinking in the moment. There's no way to match her power and her intelligence and her viewpoint. I want to share something pretty positive I saw last night. Many folks know I've been healing from shoulder surgery, and for the first time, I went out to a concert last night and listened to a local artist. Her name is Hazel Miller. She's a jazz and artist, and oh my gosh, to watch. There were a couple of things I watched very clearly. Obviously, artists are changing their, when they look back at the oldies, they used to be playing big band stuff. Now they've moved into the boomer generation, right? But what was fun about that, and there were a lot of boomers in the audience, I will admit, but what was fun about that is when the anti-war songs from the 60s were played, and things that were anthems of that time, of the civil rights movement, and of things that really brought us together to fight. Wow, the room was loud and very strong from people really standing up in this moment, and perhaps like I was, remembering all the turmoil of that time and how hard we all had to fight. It was a rough time. So anyway, that was very reinforcing for me. Instead of being a room full of old people who were trying to dance, late into the evening, it was just a great amount of energy. So it's there in all of our generations to fight this mess. And we will win in November, and we will have to keep fighting. It won't be the end of the fight. We will have to keep fighting. So thank you, Alan. Can't wait to hear from Nina. We go to Mike Fox next, I think. You're muted now, Alan.
Thank you, Donna. I just want to remind folks that we, of course, have these every week on Sunday, and our protocol is to keep everyone's cameras off. That's because we were negatively impacted as an organization through Zoom bombing when we were not prepared fully to take that into effect. And we will not be taking questions with people raising their hands and speaking until after the speakers are complete, so as to not distract and we'll even be shutting down the chat while the featured speaker, Ben Cohen, will be speaking, so as not to distract from what he will be conveying to us. So with that, Mike Fox, please take it away with our PDA to-dos.
Excellent. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hot dog. All right, everybody. As always, every week, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, we are here to do what? Number one, revel in the fact that you're surrounded by people who get it here. We're here every week, building community, and most importantly, getting wind in our sails to do the work over the upcoming week, okay? So along those lines of the work, time, treasure. From a time standpoint, phone bank. We have primaries on Tuesday in a big way. State of Florida and elsewhere. We need folks on the phones with us, phones on fire. We have quite a few of the folks here. on this call are phone bankers. If you are, type in the chat that you are, and let us know that you're doing it so we can show you some love. And if you can jump on board with us, hit that link, pdamerica.org/volunteer. Even if all you can put in is an hour, make it happen. If you can literally get on the phone as soon as we stop this call today, we're jumping right onto the phones. Go to pdamerica.org/volunteer, click that you want to volunteer today, and bam, as soon as this call closes, I'll be sending you the link to make it happen, okay? So, phone bank, phone bank, phone bank. Number 2, treasure. Our goal on this call is solidarity more than a dollar figure, okay? We take great pride as an organization in the fact that the vast majority of our work is done by volunteers. It's just spiritually right for that to happen. We're an organization that promotes civic responsibility. And folks stand up and make beautiful things happen, but we still got to keep the lights on. Resources do require money. So we're asking just for solidarity here. The perfect world would be if everybody on this call just threw $1 in, throw 2 in, make it monthly if you can. That's the key. Our goal for today will be 10 new sustainers. That means a monthly contribution. If you can make a couple of bucks, great. If you can make 10, wonderful. If you can do more than that, even greater. But just bottom line, nothing but love for however much you can do. All right. And we have an awful lot of folks on this call who are double doers. And double doers, as I put in the chat, rock. They not only volunteer, but they also toss a few pennies in the tip jar to make sure that we have the resources we need to bring these victories home. Okay. So I'll leave it at that. I'll be back at the top of the hour to see where we're at on our goals. And that being said, back to you, Alan.
For sure. And Nina Turner has joined us, I've been told. So if we can make her a co-host, I will introduce Nina so as that she can introduce Ben Cohen, who she's had a great and long working relationship with. But I have to say, maybe Ben Cohen will address this in the course of his comments today. I am fascinated by Ben's college history because he attended in part Skidmore College. And I was up in Saratoga Springs and I saw a beautiful Ben and Jerry's ice cream outlet there. And my daughter will be attending there. But Ben also was at the University of Massachusetts Amherst for a while in an open studies course, which I can only imagine was a prelude to the foundation of Hampshire College, where my daughter originally was intending to go. But then Hampshire closed, a great progressive institution closing. And then she was able to scramble and get admitted to Skidmore. I understand that Ben Cohen studied pottery. And of course, he went on to bigger and better things a few years later, founding Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream in the great metropolis of Burlington, Vermont, where they once upon a time had an amazing mayor. Anyway, with that, Nina Turner is joining us, and it's great to see you smile, Nina Turner. Welcome. And Nina, again, is a longtime associate of Ben Cohen, and we'll hear from Nina later in the course of the town hall as well. But for now, I just thought it best to have Nina introduce someone who she's had a great and positive, close working relationship with. So take it away, Senator Turner.
Oh, thank you so much, Alan Minsky, and to all the progressive Democrats all over the world. It's so good to be with you. Obviously, you know, I have you on my schedule as a optional hold for every single Sunday. So I was definitely delighted when I got the call from Alan to introduce one of my dearest friends. You may hear some little munchkins in the background. Today is my oldest grandson's birthday. So I'm taking a pause to join my PDA family and so happy. So what can I say about Ben Cohen? Alan really got the party started. Just to say that he is a humanitarian extraordinaire. He is one of those folks that has the opportunity to breathe a certain type of rare air, but he understands how important it is to help the least of these, and he cares about all of us. So a lot of times when we're railing against the machine and we talk about the multimillionaires and billionaires, we should not forget that there are a few, far too few, there should be many, but there are some just like Ben and Jerry who actually care about the people of this nation and of this world. And so I don't call everybody a humanitarian. Ben Cohen is a humanitarian. So he has 2 very special projects that I hope that he will talk to us about. One is free Ben and Jerry's. And yeah, I put up the freedom fist right here. Free Ben and Jerry's. Some of you may know the story. I think it was in 2000, the year 2000, but Ben will correct me, when him and Jerry, they sold Ben and Jerry's to Unilever. There was an agreement on the table, because how many of you know Ben and Jerry's at its core is a socially conscious corporation? Can you say that with me 5 times? Socially conscious corporation.
Corporation.
That's it. There is a way to do well and to do good. And so that is how Ben and Jerry's, that was the ethos of the company. Go figure. And so when they sold the company, they went into an agreement with Unilever. Hey, we got an independent board. We want to keep doing our great work as our corporate compass. It is who we are. And that agreement was sealed. Fast forward, Magnum has it now. Fast forward, President Donald J. Trump is in office. Fast forward, racism, bigotry, all up in front of our face. Might as well just bring the colored and white water fountains back. But I'll put that in the parking lot. So our dear friends, Ben and Jerry, are in a fight with Magnum. They just want their company back. And they both have they have investors that believe in the socially conscious mission of Ben and Jerry's, willing to buy it back from Magnum, but Magnum won't let them. You're talking about a certain type of evil. So free Ben and Jerry's. I need you to go to freebenandjerrys.com right now. Somebody put that in the chat. Go to free Ben and Jerry's and sign up. The other thing is, we got to boycott Magnum ice cream, all of the Magnum brands, and Ben will talk to you about those. Keep buying Ben and Jerry's now. Keep buying Ben and Jerry's. But we want to boycott the Magnum brands. We should do that because we want more corporations as companies like Ben and Jerry's. So they're in that fight, and they are not alone. The other great project, and I'm kind of in for all those projects with Ben, but Up in Arms. So I need you to go to upinarms.life, upinarms.life. Ben has been, I want to say, all of his conscious life, somebody that is pro-peace and anti-war. So this project, this is not even a project, this move to uplift and remind the American people what that money could go towards and still protect our country. We have about 1,000 bases all over the country, 800 by some measurements, 1,000 if we count where we have land and privileges all over the country. What is that? I mean, all over the world, excuse me. What is that for? That's to keep empire. We don't need all that. We spend more money than the next 9 or 10 countries combined, and most of the countries in that list are our allies. So upinarms.life is another passion project of Ben's to help the American people understand that we can still be the most lethal, have the most lethal military in the world, and also at the same time take care of our domestic needs like healthcare, like universal childcare, like education. You feel that in 70% of the discretionary budget goes to the military, baby. It makes absolutely no sense. So the one and only Ben Cohen, yes, our Ben, is putting his money, his resources into this movement. So I need you right now. I know everybody got their smartphones next to them. I need you to go to upinarms.life, upinarms.life. And then also I need you to go to freebenandjerrys.com. I serve as a national co-chair with Ben Cohen for Senator Bernard Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. We were flanked by the one and only Congressman Ro Khanna and the one and only Mayor Yulene Cruz from San Juan, Puerto Rico. When I tell you we had the dream team assembled, baby, in 2020, Ben and I cemented our strong relationship and just love of all things good. And I have been so privileged over the years to be able to work on various projects with him. And it is a high honor, I must tell you, to present to some, and we ain't introducing to nobody because who don't know about Ben and Jerry's, our dear friend, somebody that is a lover of all life, both here at home and abroad, and one of those who are in that category who understands that his life is not good unless all of our lives are good. Somebody that is not only putting his money where his mouth is, he put his body on the line. My last thing, because I could talk about Ben Cohen all day. How many of you saw, that was a few months ago, Alan, when Ben Cohen, this little Ben Cohen from Burlington, Vermont, or he in Burlington, Vermont, he was at a Senate hearing, and he was in there raising heaven up in there. no more genocide, protect the babies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And to see the police escort out who does that to the ice cream man? I wrote a whole Substack about that. Y'all go to Need to Turn to Substack and look that article. Who would dare escort the ice cream man out like that?
Man.
But they did that to him. Big Cohen ain't got to put his body on the line. He don't have to. He could be on his own little island somewhere, but he chooses to be in the fight with people just like us assembled here today. So my dear friend, a partner in this fight for justice and all things good, the one and only Ben Cohen, who I affectionately call BC. Ben Cohen, where you at? Where is he? Standing ovation. I know that's
audio.
Right.
Wow, I'm there. Yeah, I did it. Nina, wow, what an amazing intro. Thank you very much. Great to be here. Especially in this celebratory time for progressives. We are knocking them out of the ballpark. It's beautiful to see all those guys winning their primaries. And it's beautiful to be celebrating right here, right now with you guys. I got two things going on. We got one problem with, our country, of course, and we got another problem with our ice cream. Sometimes I wonder which one is going to be easier to fix. But let me tell you a little about both. First of all, my father always told me to look for the silver lining. Look for the silver lining. Some of you old people might remember that song. Yes, we are in a time of darkness. There are many clouds, but I think Trump did us two big favors. One is he did the most honest thing he's probably ever done in his life. He ripped the mask off the Department of Defense and renamed it the Department of War. And that's exactly what it is. It's not set up to defend the United States. It's set up to make war on and control the world. So I think, and people hate war. They like the idea of defending the country, but they hate the idea of war. They don't want to go around killing other mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons and daughters just like them. So I think that's really helpful to us. It's the Department of War. And then the guy, we keep on hearing that the country's broke, it's in debt, it doesn't have enough money to pay for anything. We can't provide health care, we can't provide daycare, people can't afford a house, et cetera, et cetera. But in the midst of all that, we've got debt going through the roof. In the midst of all that, somehow or other, Trump, the financial genius, decides that, well, we're not broke. We actually have an extra $500 billion, which is an enormous amount of money. I mean, we can't really conceive of how big it is, but he can't find anything better to do with it than to dump it all on the Pentagon, on the Department of War, which already is the biggest military budget throughout the world, as Nina said. But what he has done is he's made the case that we actually have that money available. And I think that is another gift that he has given us, because that $500 billion is enough to provide for everything. And I mean everything. I mean literally everything that we and the rest of the country, even the people that are not progressives, have been wanting for oh so long. I mean, It's enough money to build just about 1 million affordable houses every year. It's enough money to put millions of more people on healthcare insurance. It's enough money to provide daycare and pre-K for every kid in the United States. It's enough to provide a minimum salary of $60,000 for every public school teacher in the country. It's enough to make public college tuition free. I mean, all those things. It's not or. These are all ands. It's enough money to provide for all the needs that people are struggling with every day. So I think that looking on the bright side, we have a real opportunity, I think, to start making statements about what our country can afford and to push back against, although anytime you go to Congress and they say, oh, we really care about your kids, but just don't have the money. So that's all part of what Up in Arms is about. Up in Arms is essentially saying, which is very, very close to what Tallarico is saying, that the reason why we can't afford the American dream is because all that money is currently being spent on the Pentagon. And so, before Trump came in, before he came up with his 500 billion, we were calling for a 30% cut in the Pentagon budget. Now we're calling for a 50% cut, and that's along with the Eisenhower Media Network, which is a sister organization of retired high and mid-level military officers that are providing the credibility to talk about deep, deep cuts in the Department of War budget. So that's the way Up in Arms is looking at it, approaching it to the public, saying we can afford all this stuff if we only stop wasting it on preparing to kill millions and millions of more people. So that's Up in Arms. And then there's the Free Ben and Jerry's campaign. And, before I get into that, I just want to congratulate the progressive Democrats of America, the people on this call, for the incredible work that you've accomplished in terms of getting all these progressives to win their primaries. And we're looking forward to helping them out and putting them over the finish line in the general. So, Alan referred a little to my checkered college history. I am a multiple dropout. I first went to, I didn't really want to go to college to start off with, but my parents kind of insisted, and my father and my sister filled out the applications, and I ended up going to Colgate and dropped out of there after a year and a half. Decided I wanted to try to do something with my hands. So I went to Skidmore to learn pottery. And from there, I went to and dropped out of Skidmore. Then I joined the University Without Walls, which was the freest college program at the time that, it didn't have any classes, it didn't have any teachers, it didn't have any campus. The idea was that you go out into the world and learn whatever you want to learn, come back and prove that you learned it, and you get a degree. And I dropped out of there too. It was the hardest place to drop out of because there was really no there. I went to NYU, dropped out, went to the New School, dropped out, and eventually tried to become a potter, making my living selling pottery and making pottery, and nobody would buy it. and Jerry, my friend from junior high, we met in junior high school gym class. We were the two slowest, fattest kids in the class. He was trying to get into med school and got rejected by all of them. So we decided, well, we'll try our hands at starting a small business, and that's all Ben and Jerry's was supposed to be. And one thing kind of led to another. I just want to clear up, a few, a few facts. One is that, Ben and Jerry's, as it grew, eventually it conducted the first ever in-state Vermont public stock offering. We sold stock to our neighbors just within the state, and by the end of the offering, 1 out of every 100 Vermont families had bought stock in Ben and Jerry's, and that was a deliberate decision to kind of spread the wealth. And then eventually we had a national public stock offering, and what happened was that we hired the wrong CEO, and he saw a way to make himself a bunch of money by getting the company sold. And so he made this overture to Unilever, and because of various legal technicalities and SEC rules, the board was forced to sell the company to Unilever. It was over the objections of Jerry and myself, and because we were so firmly opposed to it, Unilever agreed to an unusual corporate governance structure, which provided for an independent board of directors for Ben and Jerry's that has legal authority over the social mission, the quality of the ice cream, the use of the trademark, licensing rights, marketing, what products get made. So it has a tremendous amount of power. And, for the first 20 years, Unilever abided by the terms of that agreement. And then when Unilever spun off their ice cream operation into this separate company called Magnum, the first thing Magnum did was fire the 30-year employee who had become the CEO. He worked himself all the way up from tour guide, and he was fired because he was taking direction from that independent board of directors. And the next thing Magnum did was they dismantled the entire independent board of directors, which is clearly illegal based on what's supposed to be this legally binding document. And then the third thing they did was totally dismantled the Ben & Jerry's Foundation. They refused to continue to fund it. So Jerry and I came to the conclusion that there's no way that the social mission is going to survive under the ownership of Magnum. And we started this campaign to get Ben & Jerry's sold to a group of socially aligned investors. I'm personally not planning on being part of that. I mean, I will be the chair of the supervisory board of the new company once we are successful, once we all work together to make it happen. But it's not about money for me. It's about maintaining the social conscience and the progressive social activism of Ben & Jerry's. I feel like Ben & Jerry's has now become a huge company. It actually happens to be the biggest selling ice cream brand in the United States, which is both good and bad. and it's available internationally, so it's a very significant force for And it has been a very significant force for progressive social change. And I feel like it's a huge help to the movement in general, to have this for-profit corporation that has this big footprint, that has this credibility, that has money available, marketing dollars that it can put toward progressive causes. Nice work, Nina. Uh, and so it has a very important role to play. It adds more credibility to many of the progressive causes that it works on. So that's one of the two main reasons why I'm putting all my energy into trying to keep Ben and Jerry's independent, and the other reason is that Ben and Jerry's is in the forefront, one of the leaders of the socially responsible business movement. And you know, if we cut off that, if we cut off the head of the socially responsible business movement, it sets it back quite a bit. So that's the other reason why I'm putting so much energy into it. And it's been resonating quite a bit. There's now just about 250,000 people that have signed letters and petitions to Magnum to free Ben and Jerry's. Move On has worked with us, and 80,000 of those are from the Move On list. In terms of social media, there's a tremendous, I don't know, there's at least 500,000 to 1 million views every week. We're focusing now in the Netherlands, which is the home of the Magnum Corporation. I was there and delivered the petitions to their headquarters, which made major page 3 news in the Netherlands papers. The Netherlands is a small country. And so there's Trump on page 2 talking about what he's doing in Iran, and there's me right across from him on page 3 delivering my petitions to the Magnum headquarters. I think that I think that Ben and Jerry's really what motivates me, and I'm sure what motivates most of the people on this call, if not all of them, is this quote from Cornel West that justice is what love looks like in public. And so that's what I'm hoping that Ben and Jerry's can continue to be going forward. So as I was saying, the idea that it's the biggest selling ice cream brand in the United States, which is always unbelievable to me whenever I say it, is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's good that everybody likes it and that it has this power because of it. It's bad because Magnum Unilever doesn't want to give it up. It's the issue of the golden goose, of the goose who laid the golden egg. They love those golden eggs. They don't really like the goose much, and they're in the process, pretty much, of killing the goose. But that'll take a bunch of years before the goose actually dies, and in the meantime, they'll get a lot of eggs, and they don't realize that they're killing the goose because, they just look at the short-term numbers. So I hope that the people on this call might find it within their busy schedules to help out a little. We had these stickers, and we still have them. Yo Magnum, free Ben and Jerry's. We were trying to be nice about it. Magnum is in Europe, it's this chocolate covered ice cream bar on a stick, which is a very, very, very popular item there in Europe. As a matter of fact, Magnum is using influencers to market its stuff. And two of the big influencers are Bella Habib and Charlie XEX. And it's interesting that they've both come out against the war and the war on Gaza and in support of Palestinians. But at the same time, they're shilling for Magnum, which has prevented Ben & Jerry's from supporting Palestinians and opposing the war in Gaza and calling for a ceasefire. And Ben & Jerry's tried to support the student protesters, and they wouldn't allow them to do that. So we have a group of supporters that are very active on social media. So they have infiltrated Magnum social media with, calls to free Ben & Jerry's, and now they are infiltrating the social media of Bella and Charlie. So there's many opportunities in terms of using social media to pressure Magnum, and I think that's where they really feel it. I mean, they feel it so much in terms of the Magnum social media that they've changed their settings so that if you tag them, it doesn't really show up on their site. You actually have to go to their page and comment. But the latest thing that we're doing is a boycott campaign, and we have these shelf price rail strips that go right into your favorite supermarket. And so it doesn't really require you to make any extra trips. Just when you go in and you do your everyday grocery shopping, you just go into the freezer section and you put these little strips in the price rail strip. They fit real good. In the US, there's a lot of different brands that the Magnum Corporation owns. There's Yasso, there's Magnum itself, there's, here's Yasso, there's Popsicle, there's Good Humor, Breyers, Valenti. So you can get those things, I think, merely by emailing your contact at Alan or somebody. Somebody's going to send you a contact for how to get these things if you want it. And you can get the stickers. You can also get these little flyers that tell the story in a succinct way. So, I know that you're getting a lot of asks on this call. Phone bank, phone bank, phone bank, phone bank, phone bank. Double doer, double doer, double doer, double doer. Here is an opportunity to be a triple doer. Right? No, not just double, triple. And you know what happens after triple? It's a home run. All right. So there you have it. Don't forget to come see me at the Left Coast Forum. I'm going to be there. Wouldn't miss it. And I appreciate the time, and be happy and go lucky and eat ice cream and hold up your finger like Alan.
Yeah, no, and I'll be at the Left Coast Forum with you. I'll be there too.
All right.
But also just a couple things quick. Ben and Jerry's ice cream, since it's been owned by Magnum, I trust that it still has the excellent ingredients that you and Jerry were always committed to. Is that the case? Because I think the public generally believes that. But then I have a more important follow-up question. That's a simple yes or no. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a really good point. There was recently an article in the New York Times, Wirecutter, where they reviewed Talenti, which is another brand that Magnum owns. And what they said was that the quality has really gone down quite a bit. But for the grace of the independent board of directors, goes
Mm.
Ben and Jerry's. So there have been several attempts over the years to lower the quality of the ice cream. The independent board effectively resisted it. But now that they have eliminated the independent board, that safeguard is no longer there. But I can tell you that I had some just the other night, and it's still pretty fucking good.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's really good. And I trust that's why it's become the biggest. I mean, it certainly is in my neighborhood, one of the two most distributed ice creams, clearly. And the other being Haagen-Dazs, and apparently, as you're noting, it outcompetes Haagen-Dazs. And but the more important question is just because corporate law and corporate structures are very opaque to many grassroots activists, if you can just outline again what the pathway is to re-empower Ben and Jerry so people can get a real grip on what they're achieving, because I encourage everybody on this call to participate in this campaign. Okay. Not only that, I'd like to come back with you, Ben Cohen, probably after November 3rd. And progressive corporate activity is a weak link in how progressives present themselves to the public. We're often seen as a force that would suffocate, positive market initiative, and we're not that. We're not a revolutionary anti-capitalist formation, neither was Bernie Sanders. We're looking to ameliorate capitalism, to make sure that the wealth of the society is distributed more equitably to everyone in society. And we believe that can be achieved, and we can have a very prosperous middle-class society, and history will take things from there. If somebody has socialist fantasies, well, that's where we're trying to deliver things to. A fully rounded out, as it were, Rooseveltian, fully inclusive now, Rooseveltian social democratic, you could call it democratic socialist if you like, type of strategy, but it's nothing revolutionary or disruptive in that manner. And positive corporate activity is something that is going to be a part of that as we move forward. And it's a weak link as we talk about it. So that's for after November 3rd. I'd love to be in dialogue with you about that. But for the moment, what if you can just draw the line of what you hope to see happen, so that people, when they go to their supermarkets and they put out these stickers and they participate in this campaign, which I hope everybody on the call will do. And we'll take this video and we'll post it online, and we'll take some clips and put them on social media and really try to get things going here to support this. There's a lot on the plate for progressives, we know right now, but we'll carry through over the next 6 months on this. But explain to them what is the goal, how to bring back control over the social direction of the company away from Magnum, back into your and Jerry's hands, into your allies' hands. What is that pathway? Just if you could explain that as simply as possible.
Sure. There's two things that are going on. One is that the independent board has sued Unilever Magnum for violating this legally binding contract. That suit is moving through the courts. As you know, the courts move slowly, and it's quite expensive. And that suit is currently in discovery. Discovery is supposed to end at the end of September. And the Ben and Jerry's Foundation, which is a separate independent entity, has also sued Unilever Magnum. And then there's the chairwoman of the independent board, Anuradha Mittal, was slandered by Unilever Magnum in a serious public document in their offering prospectus, and so she's suing them for anti-defamation. So, in terms of the Free Ben and Jerry's campaign, I see this as all pressure on Unilever Magnum to sell Ben and Jerry's to a group of investors that actually support the mission. I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're mistreating you, and you have to go to the courts to get them to be nice to you, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a really good relationship to me. So the Free Ben and Jerry's campaign is a public pressure campaign uh, using PR, social media, and it's also very much focused. There's two focuses. One is on the general public, and the other is on the financial public, the financial community. Uh, so the argument to the financial community is that Unilever Magnum has essentially charged its investors a premium for this brand for Ben and Jerry's, and at the same time, they're in the process of destroying the brand, which makes it a bad investment. And the other issue is that it's tarnishing the Magnum brand, um, and it's a management distraction. So that's it's just a whole lot of different
Mhm.
pressure points that we're trying to keep on building and get them to a point where they realize that it's really to their financial advantage to sell it.
I know that might have seemed like you were giving a complicated and long answer. Actually, it was very clear because it's very clear then how the actions that people will take will have an impact on the goals that you're seeking, which are goals that we share. And we certainly, I mean, I think everybody on the call knows and recognizes the good that you have done and that you've done with this company is really spectacular in the context of what we really exist in, which is a corporate dominated economy and culture. And it's a brilliant light, Ben and Jerry's ice cream, for people to be able to eat, not only because it's fantastic and fun to eat, but also because people understand and recognize what it stands for.
Well, I mean, and what it proves is that yes, you can have a profitable corporation that has progressive social values, and yeah, it's a very capitalist entity. Uh,
Right.
we're saying that it's actually more profitable because of its social values.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Donna Smith, please, I see you unmuted. Go ahead.
Maybe the only chance I have to say this to Ben, you've helped a lot of organizations I've worked on for Medicare for All for folks. And thank you for that you've done over the years. But today I'm having a hard time addressing you personally because being in the presence of true integrity is rare and it's wonderful. And the other thing, does it help you if I keep eating the ice cream or does it hurt?
Oh, it's
I got it.
absolutely excellent. Please eat the ice cream. I think they're trying to pump up sales by putting it on sale. Stock up. Uh,
Oh, good. Thank you.
just get your friends not to buy the other stuff.
Okay.
There's some people they buy the good stuff for themselves, and they buy the popsicle and the good humor and stuff for the kids, and so it's those other things that we want to get them not to buy.
Just
Um,
thank you.
Nina, final thought for you for Ben?
Yes, I thank Ben for clearing up the story. So he laid it out the way it really happened, point by point. Thank you, BC, for that. Just want to add there are almost 300 people on this call. BC said they had 250 something thousand people signed up on free Ben and Jerry's. If we can get all 300 people right now, it'll take you probably 30 seconds, 60 seconds maybe. We go to free benandjerrys.com and please sign up right now so that we can add to that list. I want BC to be able to say that he got another 300,000 people today on Sunday. You signing up matters. And then if you would be so kind, please, sir, please, ma'am, please, person, is to tell 5 other people in your circle. Tell 5 other people in your circle to sign up to free Ben and Jerry's. Of course, Ben and Jerry, they still want you to purchase Ben and Jerry's ice cream, but boycott the Magnum brands. But we want to keep buying Ben and Jerry's ice cream. So there is an easy, simple way. It's not a heavy lift for all of us to do our part. And if we get hundreds of thousands to millions of people just even signing up, just doing their part, if you could just be an ambassador for free Ben and Jerry's and just touch 5 of your friends and frenemies, because we taking frenemies too. and direct them to benandjerrys.com and just ask them to sign up for you. And if they're a friend of me, you tell them, don't sign up. Don't sign, because I would hate that. And if they're a true friend of me, they're going to sign up anyway. But just say to people whatever you need to say to them to get them to sign up. And that's you doing your part. And you don't even have to leave your house, your office, or wherever you are. It is a very light lift that will have such a profound impact. We want more corporations to have the social justice consciousness of a Ben & Jerry's. What a wonderful world, man, that would be. And as Alan was talking about, the FDR, and one of the things that FDR, and I don't know if Professor Harvey K is on this call, who is the expert of FDR. Alan is too, by way of professor. But one of the things he wrote to his brother, that one of his biggest accomplishments was saving capitalism. So as Alan has laid out, this is not about, unfettered greed and unfettered capitalism is a bad thing. If they're not guardrails up, it is a bad thing. If you don't believe me, just go ahead and read some of the history of the Great Depression and what happened when they're not guardrails up and protections, and when there are not conscious-minded people, both in government and also in the corporate realm too. So while we're fighting against corporatists who only care about making money, they don't care who they kill, who they destroy. So when we talk about the war industry, that is the case. When we talk about other industries where people won't pay their workers a living wage, where CEO pay continues to go up, but meanwhile, the worker got to subsidize by being on the public, having the help of the public safety net. You have a company like Ben & Jerry's that is a beacon of light. We could have thousands of other Ben & Jerry type companies in the United States of America. They can do well and do good. You heard Ben say that Ben & Jerry's ice cream is the #1 seller of Unilever Magnum. Doing well and doing good can go together. But I'm asking you, please, sisters and brothers of PDA, family and friends of PDA, I need you to go put it in the chat if you already went in there and free Ben & Jerry's. Join this. And as Ben said, if you want the little sticker, we'll get it to you, baby. You slip on in that grocery store. I'm telling you, it's easy to do. Ain't nobody watching you. And you go and put that little thing there, snap a picture and put it on social media or send it to PDA so that then we can catalog on social media. Alan, I'm so happy that you said we're going to do something even bigger and more dynamic after the November election cycles, because you really hit the nail on the head. People think progressives are anti-corporation. So we just anti-taking advantage of people. We just anti-greed. We believe there's enough for everybody to go around, and that people who are corporatists can make a profit and do good in the world. Those things do not have to be mutually exclusive. But right now, far too many corporations are not doing the right thing, and we need more Ben & Jerry's in the world. So go right now to free Ben & Jerry's. Fox, I want to know in that chat, when you take the mic back again, how many people then went in there and said, I did it. I signed up to free Ben & Jerry's. And please do not forget upinarms.life. Part of the challenge too is on the corporate side, but the other side is government. As Ben laid out, 70% of our discretionary budget goes to war. We need to swing some of that back over to the domestic side, and we will still be able to protect our nation. Nobody would dare attack us on the home front. It just ain't gonna happen. We are a nuclear power. We are a hegemon nation. So they selling us a bill of goods. Meanwhile, people are unhoused. People can't feed themselves. They can't afford their mortgages or rent. They don't know if their children or their grandchildren will have a better life than they have. There is no reason for Americans to struggle this way, being the hegemon that we are. So we should be up in arms about how our tax dollars are being spent, and they don't have to be spent that way. Hope soon. Ben and I did some filming together, so I can't wait till the team puts that out on social media. We did Men and the Women on Street, where we just asked random people, and we did it with Ben & Jerry's ice cream. We had one bowl for domestic or humanitarian human rights causes, and then we had one for the war machine. And to a person, they wanted to take their 2 scoops and put it on the side for human rights, human needs, education, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera. So when you talk to the American people in that way, they know the choice is very easy. And we didn't say have nothing to protect ourselves. We got it. We just said, can we put a little more on the domestic side of the ledger? So I can't wait till that comes out. And one more thing, I was there with Ben, and the store that is in Burlington on the square there in their downtown has "End White Supremacy" on the window as you walk by. And it is the only Ben & Jerry's store that has that there, right there in Burlington, Vermont. I was thrilled to death every time. It wasn't the first time, but every time I see it, I just get a kick out of it. And Ben and I did a video of having a conversation about why so bold. Ben & Jerry's is bold. They call it like they see it, baby. They do. And we need more corporations just like that. So let's free Ben & Jerry's and let's be up in arms about how our tax dollars are spent.
Well, thank you. And before you go, Ben Cohen, just to let you know, I was in Northern Vermont, sad occasion, memorial service up in Bread and Puppet Theater.
Uh-huh.
Not one of the Schumann family members, but another longtime puppeteer who I collaborated with when I was a young man, because some of my intellectual past resembles a little post-college for me. But my dad was like, Alan, what are you doing? And I was obviously trying to find myself, but I did some great work with a great puppeteer up there. And he passed away. And I was just up there this past week. It's a spectacular place and 3 great Vermont institutions. The current senator, Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, and Bread and Puppet Theater. If people want to check out Bread and Puppet Theater. Look, thank you so much. And I think one thing we're going to do is we're going to remind people next week about all of the infrastructure that goes in to support on this call again. And we'll get it all together. And we'll do this for a few weeks, but then we'll pick it up again after the November 3rd election, really lean into it, the campaign, how people can get all the information, continue to participate on it. So thank you so much, Ben Cohen, for joining us today on our PDA Town Hall.
All right. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Yes, and I also have to say, as Ben signs off, I really appreciated the summary about Up in Arms. You know, as Nina made reference, Harvey and I are writing a book together on the 21st Century Economic Bill of Rights. And I think Up in Arms may get a citation there because you really did. That's incredible clarity with this explosion in the defense budget. Clearly, that money was not needed to keep America safe just a few years ago. Let's take all that money and apply it to domestic needs here in the United States. And it can answer so many of our issues here domestically. So thank you again for that. Now, Donna, and thank you, Ben Cohen, and Donna and Nina. We actually do not have Mike Fox with us right now. Mike, I know, had a technical glitch going today. So,
Alan, he is back, but he's having some problems with his audio.
Okay.
So
can
he
you
is
hear me
he's
now?
back now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so let's go to Mike quickly with our updates on our PDA to-dos. Then we'll Nina, I know, has to go. She's got a birthday to attend to. But right after Mike Fox, we'll go to Nina. Just a quick dialogue about her reflections on the results in the primaries, missed opportunities and opportunities that are opening up in front of us going forward with the successes we've had in these primaries, just to hear Nina's take on things. And go for it, Mike, with our updates, and then we'll go to Nina Turner.
Cool. Just real quick here, I got a crazy wonky machine going on right now, so let me make this quick. Special thank yous to everybody who have donated today so far, including phone banker Carl double doing, and Carol and Judith. Thank you so much for your monthly donation, and Ted, phone banker Ted, triple doing with making calls and sustaining and donating. Thank you, brother. And Lisa, phone banker Mary Ellen, Anthony, thank you for your sustaining donation. Dr. Sonnemorn, double dipping as a phone banker as well as donor. Same for double doing. Michael and Karen, and does that get us? No. Bob and phone banker Beverly, phone banker Erica, phone banker Ron, phone banker Mary, Debbie, phone banker Nancy, and Mark and Michael, who starts us off each and every week. Thank you so much. And also many thanks to everybody who has volunteered so far. We're about 10 short of our goal on new phone bankers for this call. So please, pdamerica.org/volunteer gang, make it happen, make it happen. We've got a couple of folks who have signed up literally for today. If you sign up for today, as soon as we're off this call, you will receive your link to jump onto the phone bank as soon as we wrap. So let's nail that, gang. And back to you, Alan. I'll see if I can't stroke my computer here a little bit and hopefully get it to start moving in the direction I want it to.
And for everybody, also, don't forget to sign up on freebenandjerrys.com. And I just have gone to this, and right at the top, it says sign the petition. Easy to click on. And then once you're on the petition page, please just sign on. It takes 20 seconds, as it says in the little blue box that I see on my screen. So everybody, that's freebenandjerrys.com. That's pretty much what you need to do. And I'll even copy and paste the sign up page and put it into the chat. Sort of spinning my wheels intentionally here, folks, because I want everybody to do this. And again, cannot be very important cause, actually, folks. The good that has been done by this company, by Ben and by Jerry, and all that they've contributed through this fantastic ice cream product that they've produced for decades, and then all that's happened with the Dutch company and their constraints being placed upon it. We really need to stand with them and support them. So please sign up at freebenandjerrys.com, and the link I just put into the chat. Nina Turner will be back with us in a second. I will let everybody know that I was just at the DNC after being in Vermont for the memorial service. Very interesting environment around there, but I'll talk about that after. I know we got to really respect Nina's time here. So let's go to Nina Turner right now. And by the way, I was excited to see Ben and Jerry's put out the straight vanilla flavor, which you had. Obviously for years and years, it was always an incredible kind of unique flavor they would put out without the singular vanilla. But I always sensed that their ice cream was so excellent to actually have the clear vanilla flavor. And I'm a big fan of old fashioned ice cream sundaes and stuff. And to get good old vanilla ice cream from Ben and Jerry's, I was very excited about that. But hey, Nina Turner, I personally was quite unhappy, very unhappy about the loss in Wisconsin. And it was a situation where the polls really threw us off. And had I been able to maybe make a stronger intervention from the privileged position that I have as being the executive director of Progressive Democrats of America, I sort of wish I had done more, because the truth of it is it had Francesca won, we would have had Mamdani in New York being able to directly impact and improve people's lives through progressive public policy at the city level. And I think we would have had an analogous situation at the state level in Wisconsin. That would have been a powerful addition to the progressive movement. And I suppose I believed the polls and thought, well, this has been a crazy train wreck on behalf of the centrists, the way these campaigns have gone. We're going to win this thing, get into the primary, and maybe be at that point. I know that Tom Kriegel, a great progressive economist, is on the call right now from Wisconsin, and we could have pulled together so many great economists to back that administration. Francesca, I felt, was an excellent candidate, and this avalanche of criticism gets dropped upon her because we see again this incredible wealth that is thrown into backing establishment candidates who will change virtually nothing. The best that can be said is they're not Republicans. Anyway, your thoughts on that and where we stand right now?
No, amen to everything that you said, Alan. I was one of the very few nationally or internationally known progressives, certainly not actively elected, but I do hold a special title that I get to keep to endorse her, and I endorsed her very early. You're right. I mean, they did everything that they could to stop her, and then only won by less than 1%, even after all of that money and all that hate. And to make issues like her saying she wanted to cancel Thanksgiving, who cares? A lot of people not even going to be able to afford their Thanksgiving this year. You want to talk about cancel Thanksgiving? It's already canceled, Alan, for so many people, but it's so superficial. But the right is the MAGA, the right, they're so good at taking these little bitty issues and blowing them up and making them seem as though there's something that really matters. So she had an opinion about Thanksgiving. I'm sure the native population at that time got a whole thought about the history of Thanksgiving, I mean, but they took that, they turned it around. And as we know, we're really coming into a generation of people who most of their adult life, or at least half of their adult life, social media exists. Like when you start with the millennials, Gen X, it was there when we were grown. But for millennials and younger, and I think what we're going to begin to see is how the impact for millennials and younger of having a social media footprint. We got to think about that. Things that people may have said and done prior to a decision to run for office, and how that could be manipulated and used against them. And how do we fight against that? People evolve. You know, Muhammad Ali once said, if I still think at the age of 50 like I thought at 20, something is wrong with me. Now I'm paraphrasing him, but we all get that. And is it the fact that we do want people to evolve for the good, or do we want to keep continuing to hold stuff over people? I mean, do we want people to move for the good, or we don't want them to move for good? Or in the face of new information, do people have a different thought? Or I know a lot of people are skeptical of politicians. Do we simply change our mind just because, you know, it's convenient at the time? I think all of those are fair questions. But to take an incredible representative like Francesca Hong and her body of work and what she was standing up for, and then try to bludgeon her to death. Not only did she have to fight against the Republicans, who, by the way, in a cynical manner, put $4 million or so to try to boost her, being cynical. And then you couple that with the corporatist Democrats.
Right.
All that she had, all her and her supporters. But you know what she showed? She may not have won that contest, baby, but she put a mark on that, because less than 1%. So that means that she and that movement there in Wisconsin, they ought to be proud, because the progressive mark has been set. But it was such a shame to Alan and to my PDA family. I will say this, Alan didn't say this. Even though politicians like myself and others, we definitely have a right to endorse or not endorse. I want to lay that out there. I get a lot of requests.
Right.
So I'm going to say this about people who are actively elected in our movement who could have endorsed her.
Yeah, please do.
Gave her the turbo boost that maybe, we'll never know, maybe she would have won. But I'm going to tell you something that one of my colleagues once said to me, that his point was, when I endorse somebody, whether they win or lose, I'm with them, because I endorse them for the right reasons. And ultimately, Alan, we have a group of actively elected people, and y'all can read between the lines of who I'm talking about, make a calculus, and their teams have them making calculus, not the calculus of what is in that person's heart. What's the measure of a man? What's the measure of a woman? What's the measure of a person? What do they have to bump up against to try to win? That I'm with you whether you win or lose. They are now making a calculus of whether that person can win, Alan, and making a decision of whether or not they're going to come in and help them.
Yeah, I'll amplify that. Actually, I think it was quite short-sighted, and we win things and we lose things at PDA. We were all in for Francesca. You know, of course, it had to go under our 501c4 because it's not a federal candidate. But we were all in, and I met Francesca well over a year ago. I was in Wisconsin, I think last summer, and you know, she was one of two members of the state assembly who had introduced an economic bill of rights. So guess what? I really, 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 really liked Francesca Hong. I thought she was spot on, and it's just so short-sighted, because the upside of having and Francesca clearly was of and from the movement. That's the other thing I found so short-sighted about the non-endorsements, was that clearly there was going to be a dialogue in the movement before she ascended to the governorship of what could be, you know, priority agenda for her to pursue, what's attainable. You know, and it was going to take some navigation. Clearly the Democratic caucuses of the two state legislatures, had she become governor, were probably going to short circuit some of the more ambitious plans that she would have wanted to see pursued. But they were clearly, look at what Mamdani's achieving, right? Ways to echo those things. I mean, imagine 5 state-owned supermarkets. Well, it's sort of funny about Wisconsin. They actually have one of the best supermarket chains in the country that's workers owned. So, but nonetheless, having said that, the idea, if there wasn't that one supermarket chain, of 5 state-owned Wisconsin supermarkets available for the people to undercut the inflation, like Mamdani said, how popular that would be with the Wisconsin people, and what a low, you know, lift that is. You know, tiny, tiny little lift. Yeah.
You know what the irony is? People acting like capitalism is working so well.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things my husband said, and my husband is a conservative, he said, you know, they ought to do capitalism better then, if they, you know, want to talk all this talk.
Well, they can't contain it. Yeah.
Do it better. I mean,
they can't contain the short-term profit taking. The greed.
No, they can't.
Right.
Hence Ben and Jerry's fight to get their company back and why Unilever Magnum doesn't want to let it go. No, it's very short-sighted. So what I want to say to my family on this call and frenemies who may have joined us to peer in is that we may have politicians that we absolutely adore and love,
Right.
adore,
Right.
respect, but they are not infallible.
Right.
And so we have a group who could have come in. Again, the turbo boost, I said it. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And they didn't do it. And they fell for some of the mainline talking points to destroy this woman, talking about woke 0.1 or 2 or whatever she said.
Yeah. Right.
Woke 1. Woke 1 was crazy. First of all, woke is a term that was used in the African American community. Say, keep your head on a swivel, pay attention because you could die.
Right.
And then it was taken by neoliberals and everybody. I'm on the call. Everybody else was added into it. It was for African Americans. The neoliberals took it, watered it down, added everybody, and then the Republicans took it to use it as a signal to bludgeon people to death. So I don't know what woke 1 was. I know what the original woke was. But when you get progressives taking the same language as the other people, this just Representative Jessica Hall, you may not have agreed. Oh, Francesca, I keep calling her Jessica.
Gotcha.
Lord, forgive me, Francesca.
Okay.
I got a Jessica in my life. I've been doing that on national TV. Representative Hong was standing up for what was just right and good. Ultimately, Francesca Hong was standing up for what is just right and good. And to have people desert her and even pour gasoline on the fire is just wrong. And so we got to be able to call out people that even we like. And then, Alan, I want to add in there what happened to Congresswoman Cori Bush, the same thing.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, sure.
They left her. They didn't. I mean, one of our people that we know and love did actually endorse her. The other people did not. And they actually served in the Congress with Congresswoman Cori Bush and still left her on the side of the road, barely lifted a finger, if any. Some people did the ceremonial, I'll endorse her so they can check off the list. But they didn't come in, they didn't stump for her. Some who served in the squad with her didn't even endorse.
Right.
And so we got to start having the conversation about that and stop clinging. You have the only Black woman other than Representative Angie Nixon in Florida. But Congresswoman Cori Bush occupied a different space in this primary battle in that her colleagues who are actively elected and progressive either checked the box or didn't even bother to check the box and then did not come in there and do anything to help catapult her candidacy. Is something wrong with that?
Cori Bush, I felt all along, if people do not remember, she stepped out and introduced the initial ceasefire resolution in the U.S. Congress. In that sense, she was saying to her dear colleagues, Representative Omar and Representative Tlaib, who are fantastic, that she was going to be the person who was going to take the brunt of all of this institutional force that was going to come. And take a few minutes, Nina, please. Take a few minutes if you need.
No, I'm good. I'm my baby. They know better. They know. They've been growing up seeing Yaya do this kind of stuff.
Well, it would just be a couple minutes, but I was just saying how Cori Bush, of course, stepped, as it were, stepped in front of and took the brunt by being the person who stepped up and introduced the original ceasefire act.
That's right.
Okay, I've always said,
Alan, and I'm sorry, and to be ridiculed in some circles of the Black community. So she got to take it from all sides, right? She introduced that resolution. Don't forget, she slept out too when the moratorium.
Of course, yeah. Right.
Was about to end in 2021 under the Biden administration. But another pain point that I need the family on this call to understand is that she also suffered the ridicule by some who said that she was leaving Black issues on the side of the road to deal with Palestinians in Gaza. Nothing can be further from the truth. Her activism was a both and, but I need people to understand that although AIPAC and these Israel First groups, they come after progressives, they come harder at Black progressives. There is an anti-Blackness to what they do. But people won't speak up and say a mumbling word. So now she got to get it from some in the Black community who said that she sold Black people out for Palestinian issues. Then she got to take it from the neoliberals of all stripes. And then she got to get hit by the Republicans too. Black elected officials like her and Bowman and even myself, as Alan always reminds me, it happened to Nina Turner.
Oh yeah, you were the test
I was
cases.
the first.
Yeah.
So I just need other people who are not Black to understand all that she had to endure and have these comparisons, comparing her to Dr. El Said and why it worked out for him and didn't work out for her, or even Mandami. It is a false equivalency. Mandami and El Said they catch a level of hell. They don't catch nowhere near the level of hell that a Cori Bush and a Bowman and a Nina Turner is caught. It is different. Are there some threads of similarities? I would never, yes, it is. But I need people who want to be allies and co-conspirators with the Black community to understand that when you are Black and you are a progressive and you are taking on all of it, that the pressure points are different, the support is different.
Oh, yeah.
Now the Black community is faced with, the othering of us to other people of color. Alan, this stuff is real. And so I know just in this brief call, people might not pick up what I'm putting down. I know that you do. And I know some people who are uniquely thinking, they get it too. But it is different and it is unfair. Congresswoman Cori Bush should have been back in that seat. She should have been. And just because she didn't win, she had to fight. The Congressional Black Caucus didn't come in to help her or Bowman. Matter of fact, they campaigned against both of them. They didn't want them back. And here she stepped up to run again and facing heavier head. Her headwinds were heavier than El Said, and her headwinds are heavier than Mandami. So I'm saying this to people who call themselves progressive, that you cannot lump people of color. Black people, we don't want to be lumped in like that. We don't. We occupy a unique space in our experience in the United States of America, and very few people get it. It is hurtful. I was there with her along. Let me shout out Mary Eulene Cruz, who came in for 4 days to be down there with Sister Cori Bush in those last days, coming up into the primary, to come in there and understand just even a little bit of what it means to be that kind of bold progressive and taking the brunt, because Black liberation is linked to working class liberation of all people. And when we are hit harder and we are hit differently. And a lot of people do not understand that. My last point, Alan, I want to say that the conditions, something that I wrote, the conditions of America in 2026 do not call for nibbling requests. When one person has the wealth of 170 million, we must demand FDR Social Security type programs. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but these programs will never even be proposed because our billionaire corporate fed politicians, including too many politicians of color too, lack courage. Black politicians, other politicians of color, we must unite and pull our political leaders kicking and screaming to make those demands. The demise of the American family can't be reversed without FDR type programs and taken to a whole nother level, because we know that the FDR type programs had a racial component to it that was not good. Now, this is what I propose, that every family of 4 should receive a $10,000 peace dividend. Can everybody say $10,000 peace dividend? And the reason why I say that is because in this iteration of the war budget, it's going to cost us about $30,000 a year. Yeah. So how can we get 10,000 back for a peace dividend? And then they can take the other 20,000 and spend on defending our homeland and our values, right? The full budget cost of our war and surveillance system is over $30,000 a year for the average family of 4. I'm asking that we get $10,000 back for a peace dividend. And much of that money is completely wasted on weapon systems that don't work, and hundreds of bases around the world which do not make the homeland safer and actually make us more hated. Can we get a $10,000 peace dividend? And it would be powerful, because in the age of AI, lower level white collar workers are going to be displaced first. We already see it. The federal government should be employer of last resort, Alan. These are the kind of things that I want to talk about with my progressive family, that we should be demanding. This ain't hard.
No, there's so much there to unpack, but of course I agree with all of it right off the bat. And also, look, if cultural issues are going to be decentered for an economic focus, everybody on the call has to realize in the United States of America, if you talk, and I've done this, I've spoken to young people, and I explained there are these two ancient communities, they're two ethnic groups, they've been in the society for a long time, centuries, and one would have a baseline of one level of wealth and another would be 1.15. Wouldn't that be outrageous? Well, in the United States of America, it's about 1 to 8 or 1 to 10. Okay. And of course, the root of that, while it's true, of course, there's a direct line all the way back to slavery and, of course, through Jim Crow. But given how flat on the back white Americans were during the Great Depression, the greatest contributing sin was the redlining in the post-World War II era in terms of home ownership. And when we do talk about reparations, one thing is, and we build affordable housing and we build affordable separated homes that are homes that are owned by individual families. I think we really need to look at a reparative component for Black Americans as an aspect of that build out, because that racial wealth gap has to disappear in our lifetime. I mean, I have to work for that, and my lifetime isn't going to be that much longer. But I'd love to see it rectified. And by the way, as someone who comes from St. Louis and from that district, everything you've said, all progressives have to recognize that there's a racism, and along with the indigenous genocide, anti-Black racism is the definitional racist gaze of American society.
And Alan, to that point, it is the nucleus of all other isms.
Yeah.
Usually what you find, if somebody's anti-Black, they're anti-woman,
Mm-hmm.
they're anti-gay, transgender, lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
Q plus. Think about it. They xenophobic.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, like anti-Black racism is it.
Yeah.
If we solve that, we can solve so much more. And Alan, your point about the wealth gap, the average wealth, like the median wealth for a Black family is a little over $40,000 wealth. You know what it is for a white?
Supposed to be about 360, 400, something like that.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now the math ain't math.
Right. And the balance of that's in the home ownership.
That's it.
For the white
That's
family.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. The Homestead Act, as we know, Alan, we know what the Homestead Act did. Dr. King talked about it.
Of course.
Black families couldn't get that. Remember?
Right.
They couldn't.
Yeah. And yeah, that's true. That baseline too would have been there from before, of course, the Great Depression, even if the property was. Yep, absolutely.
That's right.
Unavailable.
1850s,
right.
I think. But yeah, I mean, think about it, y'all. This stuff is generational. So when you hear people talk in the progressive movement, if the neoliberals are not going to solve for it, we need to solve for it, because they use identity as a blunt force object. They don't use it to solve problems.
Right. Right. For sure. Right.
We got to try to be different. We got to be different. So please, if anybody if you are on social media, please send a love, if you will, to Congresswoman Cori Bush for trying it again, for being in that arena. Do the same thing for the Representative Francesca Hong and anybody else that has been in, and even for our sisters and brothers who have made it through their primaries. God bless them. I'm glad that they did. But we cannot forget that Black Americans who stand in the gap suffer disproportionately than any other group and than any other person that has taken the fight for justice. Culturally, Black people bear the brunt. And that is no slap in the face of anybody who is in the fight. It is just a recognition of what is. And usually Black Americans, as a group, not individuals, are more justice oriented, even when people are polled for the Gaza genocide. Black people, by and large, it ain't even a question. Even though you do have some who are saying that any of us who stand up for just human rights, and I love that Dr. West has been very clear, and other truth tellers and justice defenders, understanding that Black people suffer disproportionately, and it's not a but, and we can still speak up and out against genocide, not only in the Gaza, but what's happening in the Sudan, in the Congo, and other places where Black skin is dominant. The suffering is deeper and it's worse, and people rarely lift it up. So where you can, just like the Free Ben and Jerry's and Up in Arms, I just want you guys to recognize the extra burden that Black leaders who stand up for other people's humanity, that we got to fight on so many more fronts. And that when people come to the rescue to help candidates, they usually don't come in the same way. Now, I am an anomaly. In my special election of 2021, baby, people were there for me, but I was an anomaly in that 21 race. By and large, it does not happen. So when you have a Madami and you have a El Said, if you look at the resources that were put into helping those men compared to the resources that were put in to help push a Congresswoman Cori Bush over the line, it's not this. It's not the same.
I'd be remiss if I didn't add this about Cori Bush. And of course, this is my district that I grew up in, so I've certainly followed the career very closely. But Cori Bush was the person who introduced the Ceasefire Act. And I felt that Cori Bush, first of all, her stepping up to do that was certainly informed by her career of her activism around Ferguson. And so there's that connection pertinent to what Nina's been talking about. But it was her. And I also think that she did that in a sense. She was going to step in front of the firing line in front of Representative Omar and Tlaib out of solidarity. And damned if she wasn't right, not only for doing what we all understood was the ethical and correct thing to do, but just history. If history could go back, and that would have had a groundswell of support within the American Congress at that point. I'm sorry to say this for anybody who may feel differently, but please hear it. If you're an Israeli Jew, Cori Bush was your best friend. I mean, she was protecting everything for everybody in the region, not just, of course, primarily for Palestinians, because that's who she was thinking of. But boy, would geopolitically Israel be in the position that it's in now if that had won out at that point? She was not anybody's enemy. She was doing the right thing by history for all people at that moment. And I think informed by her activism, I saw that early on. And I suppose I'll not say anything about Wesley Bell right now. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Alan, that was so beautiful. My God. So just send her some love. I just want to remind you guys that we have solutions to this. Employer last resort. We need the federal government to be the employer last resort. I jump back on economics, Alan, because I want people to understand that as AI displace, there's a blessing and a curse to technology, no doubt. The technology should be used to enhance what we do as human beings and not to displace. We need the federal government to be the employer of last resort. We need the enhanced child tax credit back. We need Medicare for all, right? Come on. Who can argue with that? We need that peace dividend. we can have all of these things. We can have all these nice things and protect the homeland. And please protect and shout out those who are in the elected ministry and other ministries. You don't have to be actively elected to care. The people who take the biggest risk for what is just right and good. They need our love. They need our uplift. They need to be reminded that we see them and we see the hurdles, the mountains that they're trying to surmount to make this world a better place for all of us. And I love how you put that frame around Congresswoman Cori Bush in terms of Jewish people.
People forget that she was the person who did that. She did it way.
Yeah.
It was at 22. Initially, I had like 22 people sign on. Hey, Jim Langford, I see has a question. Jim, take it away. Yeah. Unmute, Jim. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, Senator Turner, thank you for joining us today. And as always, I'm absolutely wrapped in everything that you have to say. I wanted to thank you for mentioning Angie Nixon. She is experiencing exactly what you mentioned today. Exactly. And I told you before, I told her before that since I've known her, she reminded me of you. And she really is putting up a good fight. I mean, she really is. But what she has experienced personally is it's just unimaginable. And any other candidate would not have experienced what she's going through. And we're here for her, but it's an uphill climb for her every single day simply because she is a Black woman. And it has been really, really hard for her. And I really appreciate you bringing that up because it's mirrored exactly in what you said, in your entire conversation this afternoon. So thank you for mentioning that. And I will be sure and tell her that you highlighted that as well. as I'm hopefully going to be talking to her later this evening. So thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And
Thank you,
as
Scott.
always, I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here with us. So have a good
You
afternoon.
always
As we
are.
all
Thank
are.
you,
Yeah.
Dr. Lamford. Thank you. I was trying to get in to help her. Things didn't pan out, but I'm from afar just trying to do what I can. And thank you for your recognition of that. And again, you're going to see this these same people who are traveling all over the country that we know and love, some of them. You ain't got to love all these people, but you know who I'm talking about. They're not putting the same effort into helping her as they help some of these other people. Again, the calculus, of course, we want to win-win. I mean, that's why people run, that's why we're doing it. But if you're standing side by side with somebody because they're standing up for what is just right and good, even if they don't win the race, you look dead in that camera, mainstream media, when they want to say you back the losing candidate and say, not at all, not at all.
Yeah.
You know, I supported the person that I believed in. That's it. And next question. We shouldn't fall for that. I mean,
Oh,
it really is. It's a
good.
hurting thing to know what I
Yeah.
know, but I'm hearing from the insiders that this is the calculus that some of the bigger name people in our movement who are actively elected that they're making.
Yeah, it's a super shame in Wisconsin, and we've shared our thoughts on that. And for Florida, it's even more short-sighted because
Yeah.
nobody expects the progressive movement to win elections easily in Florida right now. So it's about building a movement and building growth and building strength. Yeah. And of course, hopefully we could pull off some victories because they're fantastic candidates. We got three fantastic candidates we've endorsed as federal
Yeah.
candidates in Florida's election this Tuesday. And we're very
Oliver
proud to be.
Larkin
Yeah, Oliver Larkin and Elijah Manley.
and
Yeah,
Elijah
yeah,
Manley.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And to
again,
Elijah Manning fighting against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a carpetbagger.
Yes,
So the Black
ma'am.
Caucus gets no respect. That's me saying it. The Congressional Black Caucus is useless. They need to take the word black out of the name because for all the pushback that you're going to hear somebody like leader Hakeem Jeffries and others, as soon as they get up there, take the podium to speak against President Donald J. Trump and all of the wicked things that they're doing with the pen across the country to thwart the voting power of Black Americans and other people, rightfully should be critiqued, criticized, and fought against. They have not said a mumbling word, PDA, to stop Debbie Wasserman Schultz for carpetbagging her way into a Black opportunity district. So when you hear these people speak against
yeah.
President Donald J. Trump, we need to tell them to have 2 seats on that issue, to have a seat, because they lost the high ground on it. Because it's easy to fight against President Donald J. Trump, but you need to tell Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, run in your district. And don't run in a district that is an opportunity district for Black people knowing everything, especially knowing everything that the GOP is doing right now, state after state. And she got the pure unadulterated nerve to run. But you know why they won't say anything? Because they answer to their owner donors. They are owned. And they
And
won't say a word.
and the
So
same
now
on the
other
government.
people can speak up against what GOP is doing, but they need to not say anything. I said it. You might not be able to say it in the same way that I'm saying it, but wrong is wrong and right is right.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And
It's a shame.
that one is an extreme example, of course. And
And Alan, the only congressperson that I know of a date, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, who has backed Elijah Manning, or people might want to back Uncle Luke. It no matter to me, I just want her to lose, is Congressman Ro Khanna.
I think Frost has. Is that not
Frost
correct?
has.
I'm not
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I think Frost.
Maxwell has not. No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So
That's so funny. I was
Congressman
about
Ro
to.
Maxwell
Khanna,
endorsed Angie Nixon, but he has not endorsed Elijah.
Okay.
Congressman Ro Khanna has endorsed Elijah
As you mean.
Manley.
Mm.
Okay, y'all hear what I'm saying?
Oh
So when
yeah.
them people start running for president and trying to get the Black vote, the question needs to be, where were you on this race, especially in the face of what the GOP is doing? There's only one person that I know of. Somebody put in the chat if I'm wrong. Congressman Ro Khanna.
By the way, it was the strategy you described for Jeffries was how McKinney almost lost that race that he won. It was great that he won in Michigan, and also how in the U.S. Senate, Raja almost won because all they do is put up ads attacking Donald Trump, and they blitz with their incredible amounts of money with ads that show them to be powerful voices against Trump, but nothing about really serving the interests of the constituents fortunately, in both of those races, with PDA's aid in both of them, Donovan McKinney was able to win. And just to, again, actually, Juliana Stratton is going to be a vastly better senator, of course, than Raja would have been. Very conservative Democrat, almost won that election. Nina Turner. Nina Turner, we love you, as you know, and we shall see you again soon. So thank you for joining us. And everything that Nina and I said and all was said about Ben Cohen, let's get on that and let's follow up in coming weeks. And Nina Turner, we shall see you soon and enjoy your beautiful birthday party over there. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Mike Fox, let's bring you forward however we can bring you forward. And I suppose I'll be handing off to you for family time. We can have an open conversation. Does that sound right to you?
But you know me, my brother. Our conversation during family time is going to be about goals. If you want an open conversation, you're the man.
Well, I'm all for the goals right now. I'm a little worn out from my travels, I confess, and I would be looking forward to slipping away, checking in, see how my daughter's driving lessons went, and all of that stuff. Haven't seen the family enough recently, but myself. And look, I suppose let me just say a few things about the DNC meeting. But maybe I'll just drop a few hints here. These meetings are going very well for us, actually, and we've been able to forge some bonds. A big shout out to someone who couldn't make us today because he stayed an extra day on in Austin where it was way too hot. I think I can see what they're doing. They save money by having their meeting in a place where no sane person would schedule a convention in Austin, Texas in August because it was over 100 degrees each of the days I was there. So everybody stayed inside the hotel. But we've created some incredible bonds with the younger Democratic organizations that are very distinctively shifted in their politics from 10, 15 years ago. So I'm talking about the young Dems, the college Dems, the high school Dems. Met some incredible young people there, very committed to a progressive agenda, and we shall be working with them with a particular focus on AI, only therein because we all agree, including the young people involved, that the voice of young people is going to have an outsized impact on the subject of AI because this is technology. Of course, it's going to be impacting them and their futures for many more years than it will be impacting what we hope for many more years because the dangers of AI, I'm not somebody to dismiss the existential risks involved with AI. I'm not a doomster as such. I myself skeptical that we're right at the precipice of that danger because I don't see what are called large language models as being able to generate the kind of independence that would produce the robots take over and kill us all type of scenario. But they're making advances in that direction. I think the people in charge in the domestic United States have very little concern for the welfare of humanity versus their short-term profit taking and their further political empowerment within the contemporary context. I'm talking about these Silicon Valley oligarchs. They need to be regulated. These young people recognize this. And we are thrilled, PDA, to have really led the way in reaching out to these groups and organizing with them. And there'll be a lot more going forward in the future. So very, very fruitful time there. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that this document had a nice strong play at the Poverty Council meeting where Jim Hightower spoke. And yes, Mike Fox, I have a picture to share of myself and Jim Hightower. Jim Hightower was amazing as always. Clayton Tucker's campaign, by the way, really promising there in the general election for agriculture commissioner in Texas. Let's all lift up that campaign. Again, will be our 501c4 that will do that, unless our Texas state coordinators want to rapidly get a pact together in the state of Texas. That's the way we would have it be PDA endorsed, but be 501c4 endorsed. And then Common Sense 2026, I actually read from it and handed out and sold 25 copies. It's a really nice show for the Poverty Council that showed up there. Big shout out to Susie Shannon, just doing an amazing job in organizing the Poverty Council and speaking out for half the population that lives at or near the poverty line in the United States of America. And just all very constructive down at the DNC. And, you hear the controversies in the public. Those are not really the space in which PDA is engaging things inside the DNC, but we're happy the degree to which progressives are feeling more welcome there. And so we're proceeding apace and gaining momentum inside the Democratic Party at the national level and at the state level as we make many connections with people from different states very much interested in and connecting with their PDA members in these given states, some of the states in which PDA hasn't been operated with the same level of strength as we have in our strongest states across the country. So it's been very productive. And onwards is the word. And I'm going to now put a ribbon and bow on this and hand off to Mike Fox for our family time. Great shout out to Ben Cohen. Big thanks in the background to Ed Erickson, who helped to pull this all together for us with Ben Cohen. Big shout out to Ben, of course, and to Nina Turner, the great Nina Turner. Always so powerful to have her join us here. I want to thank, of course, Mike Thaler, Carol Workman, Jim Langford, everybody who's working behind the scenes to make this happen. Donna Smith, of course, who joins us every week here with her thoughts for the week. And then the great Mike Fox, who we have to get on top of any technical problems he's having because there ain't no PDA without Mike Fox. And I love that I love that Ben Cohen did a little Mike Fox imitation there for a second with our, to-dos and our double dippers and so on.
Hard ask, baby, hard ask.
There we go. And so with that, I'm going to slip away in a few minutes. I'm going to hand off to family time. We'll be back again next week with another PDA Town Hall right here Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and early in the morning in Hawaii. And with that, take it away, Mike Fox.